I had a dream during the lunch break. In the dream, my childhood friend fell in love with a boy and had a dramatic relationship with him. As for why it was dramatic, it was because I, the bad guy, interfered. I used our childhood friendship with Andrew to do everything in my power to prevent him from being with his beloved. I even shouted at him, "We were destined to be together since childhood. What right does he have to take you away?" The dream was so real that I felt strange looking at the face that was exactly like mine. But in the dream, I could do nothing. I could only watch helplessly as I tried to control everything about Andrew and keep him by my side forever. And Andrew in the dream became more and more aloof. At the end of the dream, he hugged his lover and threw me to the ground mercilessly. He said, "Henry, you've ruined our friendship. If you try to sabotage my relationship with Daniel again, don't blame me for turning against you." His expression was very serious, as if he was looking at a stranger, a piece of trash. Even in the dream, I felt uncomfortable with his expression. My chest felt more and more stuffy. I woke up from the dream suddenly and only then realized that someone had their arm pressing on my chest. No wonder I felt so uncomfortable in the dream just now. I took a deep breath and swept the arm away none too gently. But then the person immediately lifted the arm back and mumbled, "Henry, let's sleep a little longer." I turned my head and sure enough, Andrew had somehow climbed onto my bed again. Remembering the dream, I couldn't help but feel strange inside and quickly got out of his embrace. The person who was still drowsy immediately sat up the moment I got out of bed. "Where are you going?" "I can't sleep anymore. I'm getting up." "Oh, okay. Then I'll get up too." I turned to go to the bathroom to wash my face and wake up, and Andrew followed closely behind me. The bathroom, which was originally for one person, suddenly became quite crowded after two people entered. So I quickly washed my face twice and was about to go out. However, Andrew grabbed me in half, encircled me by the way. "Where are you rushing off to? Your face isn't even dry yet." He picked up the towel on the hook and naturally wiped the water off my face. But I was still thinking about the dream I just had, and I felt a chill in my heart. I snatched the towel and got out of his embrace. "I'll wipe it outside myself. You go and wash quickly." After saying that, I ignored him standing there slightly stunned and walked out of the bathroom. Sitting in the living room, I buried my face in the towel and pondered the authenticity of that dream. That boy named Daniel did seem to have been mentioned by Andrew. Even the beginning of the dream matched reality. If this dream is really a precognitive dream, then I have to seriously consider my relationship with Andrew. I don't know why I had such a strong possessive desire for Andrew in the dream. All I know is that now, I just want to maintain a good friend relationship with him. Just as my thoughts were swirling, the sofa beside me suddenly sank in a bit. Andrew sat down next to me and started chattering. "What's wrong? Did you get up too suddenly and feel uncomfortable? Or is your morning grumpiness still not gone? Let me give you a massage, okay? It'll make you feel better. Henry, besides me, who else can take care of you so attentively? I've been so good to you. Can you give me some money tonight so I can go out for a drink with Alexander and the others? I promise I'll be home before 10 o'clock. And I definitely won't drink more than 3 glasses. Or can you come and pick me up tonight?" After Alexander and the others got into relationships, they all have someone to pick them up. I'm the only one without. He pressed his body tightly against me and kneaded my body with both hands, almost half encircling me in his arms. I lifted my head from the towel and looked at him sideways. At this moment, we were extremely close and I could even see the pores on his face clearly. Moving away from him imperceptibly, I tilted my chin slightly to greet him. "Your card is in the drawer beside the bed on the 2nd floor. Go and get it yourself." This guy, for some unknown reason, had a whim and insisted on keeping all his belongings with me. He said he was afraid of spending money recklessly and developing bad habits. Although I've told him a million times that his family can afford his extravagance no matter what, he still stubbornly insists on leaving everything with me. It can be said that my room is more like his home than his own, but I don't have any special feelings about it. In fact, I'm a bit annoyed. Every time he wants to buy something, he asks me for money. Even when he goes out without me, he comes to report and get the car keys. It seems as if I'm in charge of him in every aspect. But actually, I don't have such an intention. It's just a good opportunity to let him take his things back little by little. After hearing me tell him to get the card himself, Andrew stared at me with round eyes in disbelief. "I won't get it. Why should I? Just give me some. I don't know how much to give. You'd better get it yourself. Give me as much as you want. 1 or 200, 1 or 2,000. If you're happy, give me more. If you're not happy, give me less. Why should I take it back? His voice rose in pitch, showing a bit of annoyance. I patiently explained to him, it's your card and your money. Why should it depend on my will? You'd better take it back. It'll save you the trouble of asking me every time. It's inconvenient for you and for me too. Andrew pursed his lips and stared fixedly at me. After a long time, he asked uncertainly, Henry, when did I upset you? No. Then why do you suddenly want me to take it back and say such things as inconvenient? I don't understand his way of thinking. He actually enjoys handing his money to others. I was a bit exhausted, so I gave up arguing with him. No. If you don't want to take it, then don't. I just thought it would be inconvenient for you. I got up to put the towel back, but suddenly he stopped me. This time, I fell right into his arms. He buried his head in the back of my neck and his voice was muffled. What's inconvenient about keeping it with you? Every time I can talk to you more because of this. Henry, don't you think you're becoming more and more indifferent to me now? Is it because you have new friends? Do you want to abandon me, an old acquaintance? I sighed and he reached behind my head to ruffle Andrew's hair twice. I'm not abandoning you. You've always been my best friend. No one can replace you. Yes, definitely the best friend. No one can ruin our friendship. Not even myself. Andrew lifted his head from the crook of my neck, and the warm breath from his words blew directly onto the ends of my hair. Really? Then will you go with me tonight? No. I don't drink, and I don't like that kind of place. Moreover, I want to verify if the situation in my dream will happen after Andrew goes to the banquet tonight. Okay. Andrew's voice sounded disappointed again. Then can you come and pick me up? Just this once. Yes. Really? Andrew sat up straight immediately, and the distance between us quickly closed. I'm the kind of person who's not used to being intimate with others. Even though Andrew and I have known each other for almost 20 years, I still can't quite get used to it. So the moment his abs and pectorals touched my back, I immediately stood up. Andrew. I looked at him discontentedly, while he just scratched his head and laughed carelessly. What's wrong? Haven't you gotten used to me being clingy to you after all these years? I suppressed my slightly irritated thoughts and asked him, stop fooling around. How much do you need this time? I'll transfer it to you. 200, okay? He looked up at me. His eyes were bright. I unconsciously softened my voice again. I'll give you 2,000. Is that enough? I don't know the price of alcohol. Or maybe you'd better. He suddenly stood up and hugged me, ignoring my feeble pushing. It's enough, it's enough. I knew our Henry loves me. I tried hard to resist the urge to push him away and patted him on the back twice. I transferred the money to him on my phone after Andrew left. He sent back a kissing emoji and a message, thank you, my Henry baby. I shivered with disgust. If I didn't know Andrew has always been like this, I think he was deliberately trying to disgust me. I put down my phone and got busy with my own things. The phone started ringing soon, but I ignored it because I knew who it was from without even looking. When it was almost time to pick up Andrew, I put down the book and picked up my phone to take a look. Sure enough, all the messages were from one person, Andrew. I'm here. I ordered a not very strong drink today. I think you can have a bit too. I'm so annoyed. I told Alexander today that you gave me 2,000 and he didn't believe me. All such small talks. He really isn't afraid of getting tired. I got up and drove to the pub where he sent the location. Too lazy to go in and look for him, I directly sent him a message asking him to come out. I stared at the entrance of the pub and I didn't know why I felt a bit strange. If that dream was real, then Andrew should have been carried out by a boy named Daniel. There were several figures at the entrance. As expected, the one carrying Andrew was a boy I didn't know very well. Hello, are you Henry? I'm Andrew's friend. My name is Daniel. He's a bit drunk, so it took me some time to carry him out. The sunny and handsome boy smiled at me and introduced himself. I nodded at him. The big stone in my heart should have fallen, but why did it seem to be pressing on me more and more, making it hard for me to breathe? I took Andrew from Daniel and couldn't help asking, didn't you say you wouldn't get drunk? Andrew seemed to sense something and looked up at me. Huh? What did you say? It's nothing. Forget it. I shouldn't have asked like this. I shouldn't have had an over the line possessiveness like in the dream. Andrew's friends came out one after another and greeted me. I nodded slightly in response and supported Andrew, and wanted to walk towards the car. He seemed to recognize my smell and kept rubbing against me. I wasn't as strong as him and staggered when he touched me. As I swayed, suddenly there was a hand on my back to support me. "Are you okay?" I turned my head and saw Daniel's worried face. "Can you stand steady?" I endured the discomfort of being touched by a stranger and politely thanked him. "I'm fine, thank you." Daniel went to grab Andrew's other shoulder and took him onto his own. "Let me help you get Andrew into the car." Andrew still had one arm on my shoulder, and the other was supported by Daniel. For some reason, I kind of hated this posture, but I couldn't just let go. So I mercilessly patted Andrew's cheek. "Are you really too drunk to walk?" Andrew mumbled, "Hum. Then don't take my car tonight. I'll call a taxi to take you home." Andrew swayed a few times, slowly stood up straight on his own, retracted his arm, and stood there in a long line. I can walk by myself. I'll take Henry's car." Seeing that he could still think clearly, I lifted my leg and walked towards the car. "Then walk over here by yourself." Just as I took 2 steps, I suddenly remembered that I still had to thank Daniel who had offered to help me. So I bowed slightly to him. "Sorry to trouble you today. Thank you very much." Daniel probably had also drunk some wine and stupidly waved his 2 hands at me. "It's okay. It's okay." I took small steps forward, and Andrew quickly caught up with me. There was a pull at my cuff. Sure enough, Andrew had grabbed one of my cuffs with both hands. As he pulled, he swayed, as if he was in a very good mood. I collected my inner annoyance and casually asked him, "What? Did you have something happy happen tonight?" Andrew grunted a few times with his nose. "So happy. I'm the first one to be picked up. And it was you who picked me up. In the future, I'll definitely be so cool in front of them." Although I didn't know what was so happy about it. But seeing how self-satisfied he was, it should be a good thing, right? However, I remembered Daniel and that dream, and still couldn't help asking, "The one who helped you out today is the Daniel you mentioned before, right?" Andrew shifted his gaze from my cuff to my face. "It's him. How could you recognize him at once? Didn't I only tell you about him once?" "Well, maybe it's because he looks so distinctive that you can recognize him at a glance." I didn't even know what I was explaining. To be honest, I kind of hated this feeling of saying one thing and meaning another. My mind was in a mess, and I couldn't move forward anymore. Looking back, I realized it was Andrew who had grabbed my sleeve and stopped walking. I asked him, "What's wrong?" He didn't answer me, just muttered to himself. "Recognizable at a glance?" I asked again, "Andrew, what's the matter?" I was getting a bit impatient. Andrew's eyes were unfocused, but he still asked me clearly, word by word, "Henry, did you fall in love with that guy at first sight? Andrew, did you drink so much that your brain is not working? Didn't you say he's recognizable at a glance? Isn't it love at first sight? But my face is obviously much more handsome than his, right?" I didn't have the patience to indulge his nonsense. So I just casually replied, "You're drunk. Stop making a scene." Andrew let out a deep sigh, seemingly helpless. Suddenly, he pulled me closer, wrapped his arms around my waist from behind, and whispered in my ear, "I'm not making a scene. I don't like you paying so much attention to others. Do you know that? Isn't having me enough for you? Why do you have to get to know others?" I turned my head away, trying to keep some distance from him, but he moved closer and pressed against my cheek. "I don't want to get to know him. I just asked a question." Asking a question also means you cared about him a bit. You're not just focusing on me. If you keep acting drunk again, just try it. It's not acting drunk. Anyway, you have to promise me today that you won't have any contact with him in the future and will never mention him again. You promise. He just kept insisting that I make the promise. When my patience ran out, I reached out and covered his chattering mouth beside my face. "Get away. Your mouth stinks of alcohol." I also covered his nose, forcing him to let go of my waist and try to pull my hand away. However, instead of pulling my hand away, he held it and buried his nose and mouth deep in my palm to sniff. Like a pervert. It got even more excessive. His mouth under my palm started to mumble, "I stink, but you smell so good." His lips and the hot breath were so close to my palm. It was extremely strange. I was really angry. I used my other hand to slap hard at the two hands that were holding mine. The restraint was released. I used the free hand to slap the side of his face. Are you sober now? If it weren't for wanting to verify that dream today, I would never have come to pick up Andrew. Firstly, I'm too lazy. Secondly, I extremely dislike people who are drunk and act recklessly under the pretext of being in an unclear state of mind. So I didn't have any psychological burden when I slapped Andrew. If you dare to go crazy again, you can walk back by yourself today. Got it? Andrew covered his face and stood there in a daze. He had calmed down, but I was still extremely irritated. I grabbed the hair at the back of his head and dragged him forward. He hissed softly and bent his body slightly. But he never dared to say, "Let go." He was sensible enough. If he had dared to say, "Let go," I probably would have left him alone on the spot. Although I was angry, I still dragged Andrew back to my home first. Since Andrew had been staying at my place more and more often, Uncle and Aunt Hua even stopped hiring a cook. They would just occasionally hire a housekeeper to clean the empty house to make sure that when they came back from business trips, they wouldn't face a dusty house that had been unoccupied for a long time. Actually, Uncle and Aunt Hua had once felt embarrassed about Andrew's shameless behavior and suggested that I go to their place more often. But I'm not as easygoing as Andrew. I can't just stay anywhere. I have a strong sense of belonging and territorial awareness towards my own place. So I just stayed in my room and endured Andrew gradually intruding into my world. I threw the drunk man on the ground and went into the bathroom alone to wash up. After finishing a series of bedtime preparations, I went to bed by myself and didn't care about Andrew on the ground anymore. Whether he was really drunk or just acting drunk, my tolerance had reached its limit. I couldn't let a guy reeking of alcohol get on my bed. I have a light sleep. Usually it's better when Andrew hugs me tightly. But I couldn't sleep well alone tonight. In the middle of the night, a sudden glimmer of light flashed in the room. I immediately woke up groggily. The light was coming from Andrew on the ground. Andrew was curled up on the ground, holding his phone and doing God knows what. Annoyance at having my sleep disturbed welled up in my heart. I grabbed the pillow beside me and threw it at Andrew. The pillow hit Andrew with a dull thud, but he didn't make a sound. If you keep playing with that stupid phone, go back to your own place and play. Don't bother me. After a peaceful sleep in the second half of the night, when I opened my eyes the next day, I saw that Andrew was sitting beside my bed, holding my hand and fast asleep. As soon as I moved a little, the person lying beside my bed slowly woke up. Before his eyes were fully clear, he pressed his face against my palm. "Are you awake? Did I make you angry last night?" I tried to pull my hand back, but he held it tightly. "If you're still angry, just hit me, okay? Don't keep it inside and make yourself sick." I was too lazy to talk just after waking up, but Andrew probably thought I was still angry, so he pulled my hand to hit his face. This guy must have figured out that I have no strength in my hands in the morning. I pulled my hand out and tapped his forehead. What a sight! Samuel heaved a sigh of relief and gave a silly laugh, burying his head in my abdomen. "I was really drunk last night. I'll never do it again." I gave a soft without asking why he got drunk suddenly or how he could still chat and type with someone in the middle of the night when he was really drunk. If he has something on his mind and doesn't want to tell me, I won't ask more. Interning at my mom's branch company is a bit busy. When there are a lot of things to do, I almost forgot about that dream. It wasn't until the department supervisor introduced Daniel to everyone that I remembered. In the dream, Daniel did come to my family's company as an intern, and I used my position to cause him a lot of trouble. I looked at the documents in my hands and was a bit confused. I'm so busy I'm like a dog. How could I still find the time to cause trouble? "Henry, can you take this intern under your wing?" "Sure." Daniel was smiling and greeting the colleagues in the office. When he saw me, the corner of his mouth curved up a bit more sincerely. "Henry? What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Come with me. I'll show you around the work." He hopped over to me, looking very excited. Okay. Along the way, I introduced things to him in a business-like manner. After getting familiar with the place, he asked me, "Thank you for showing me around today. Also, can I call you Henry too?" I nodded slightly, not really caring. Sure. It's up to you. With Daniel helping me share the workload, I felt much more relaxed. Finally, I had time to think about other things. In that dream, I made things difficult for Daniel. And finally, Andrew found out. Andrew was very angry at that time and transferred Daniel to his family's company. He also suppressed my family's company with the support of his parents. I stared blankly at Daniel, actually feeling a bit uncomfortable in my heart. Forcing a friend who grew up with you to stand on the opposite side of you is something that would make anyone feel bad, right? In my heart, on one hand was the way Andrew relied on me and clung to me, and on the other hand was the way he looked disappointed and acted distantly. Felt heavy. Henry, what's wrong? Is there something on my face? I came to my senses and gently shook my head at Daniel. No, I was just distracted. Sorry. Daniel seemed quite embarrassed by my apology and waved his hands repeatedly. It's okay. It's okay. Actually, it's okay for you to keep looking at me. Well, what I mean is, I don't mind you looking at me. Although I'm a bit shy. But how can someone talk like a jumbled mess? However, I seem to have seen this kind of look on Andrew too. It's a bit annoying. But Daniel is not Andrew, and I can't just say whatever I want. So I patiently looked at him, waiting for him to sort out his thoughts. Seeing me looking at him, he became even more hesitant and his face suspiciously turned red. The atmosphere was a bit strange. Just when I was about to say something, my phone dinged. It was a message from Andrew. Henry, are you off work? I'm here to pick you up. No, I can go back by myself. I'm already at your company's entrance. Come out. I sighed and packed up my things. Daniel stood up and moved on from the previous topic. Are you leaving? I'll go with you. Yes, okay. Perhaps to ease the awkwardness, on the way out, Daniel kept chatting and joking with me, such as the company's gossip and difficult customers. Strangely enough, although we got to know each other through Andrew first, he didn't mention a single word about Andrew. When we reached the door, Andrew was already leaning against the car door waiting. First, he looked up at me with a smile. When his gaze shifted to Daniel, his smile faded a bit. When Daniel saw Andrew, he also fell silent. Strange, is this what love is like, being too shy to express it? Daniel and I walked closer. Why are you here too? This was what Andrew asked Daniel. I'm doing an internship here. Then why are you coming out with Henry? I'm in Henry's department and he's in charge of guiding me. No, you've only known each other for a few days, yet you're so familiar with each other. Andrew was smiling with his mouth, but his eyes were serious. I knew that he was speaking his true feelings in a joking way. But were they already developing feelings for each other at this time? Is he already jealous? I felt a bit uncomfortable in the strange atmosphere between the two of them. I walked silently towards the back seat of Andrew's car first. Andrew, who had just been talking to Daniel, pressed the car door shut the moment I opened it. Why do you always go to the back? Come and sit in the front passenger seat. Daniel didn't drive here today. Let's give him a ride, by the way. I'll sit in the back and he'll sit in the front. Andrew raised his eyebrows as if he hadn't expected me to say that. What's the matter? Why do you have to sit in the back and he in the front? He gets carsick. I remembered that Daniel seemed to have said so during our chat today. Andrew closed his mouth and stared at me silently. How strange. Could it be that I remembered wrong? I cast my gaze at Daniel and said, you get carsick, right? Daniel seemed extremely happy for some reason. Yes, that's right. You remembered it just after I mentioned it today. Maybe it was just my illusion, but Andrew's face seemed a bit gloomy. Is he jealous that I know so much about Daniel? Andrew said nothing and opened the passenger seat door for me. Didn't I say? Henry. Andrew called me with endless grievances in his tone. What is he aggrieved about? I don't know, but I know my heart softened all of a sudden. I sighed and still got in the car. Andrew and Daniel chatted outside the car for a while. Finally, Daniel turned around and left, and Andrew got in the car. Unusually, Andrew was very quiet all the way. He didn't chatter or ask questions. He also kept silent when we got home, although I usually find him talkative and annoying. But when he suddenly became so quiet, I felt strange inside. So I rarely took the initiative to ask him, what would you like to eat tonight? I'll tell the aunt to prepare it when she comes. Anything is fine. Without even looking at me, he coldly threw out this sentence with his back turned to me. I took a deep breath, feeling inexplicable. However, sulking and giving the cold shoulder treatment are things that people like me, who are naturally lazy to talk, are better at. I had dinner quietly, went into the study to read books and have fun quietly, washed up quietly, and prepared to go to bed. When I came out after washing up, Andrew was already lying in my bed in his pajamas. Originally, he often slept in the guest room of my house. Occasionally, for some unknown reason, he would secretly sleep in my bed. Now he was lying there openly. I didn't want to argue with him. I picked up my pillow and planned to make do in the guest room for the night. "Where are you going?" "To sleep." When my hand was on the doorknob, Andrew strode over. His hand pressed on my hand that was opening the door. Although we were extremely close, I no longer felt his inclination to get closer to me. "Fine. I'll sleep outside." "I'll sleep outside, okay?" He took my hand off and opened the door. I watched his slightly desolate back in the corridor and, somehow, blurted out, "Andrew, if you think the guest room is uncomfortable, you can go back to your own home and sleep." Andrew stopped in his tracks and looked back at me. I tightened my bathrobe and avoided his gaze. After all, we're just friends. It's a bit too much to be together all the time. Andrew suddenly walked towards me. Before my mind could react, my hands took a step back and closed the door. The sound of closing the door was very loud and my heart skipped a beat. The next second, there was a knock on the door. "Henry, open the door." Andrew seemed really angry. But what was I afraid of? I wasn't wrong in what I said. I opened the door and looked straight at Andrew. "What's the matter?" "I'm going to sleep." Andrew had a gloomy face. With his over 1.8 height, he looked a bit intimidating. "What did you mean when you said just now that I should go back home to live?" "Just what it says." "Is it because of Daniel?" "How did it suddenly come to Daniel?" But thinking of that dream, there should be a bit of this factor. I nodded, sort of. Andrew gritted his back teeth, smiling with a gloomy face. "It was very strange. 20-odd years can't compare to 2 days. Henry, you're really good at stabbing me in the heart with a knife." I didn't say a word and just quietly looked at him. Liking someone is very painful. Do you know that? Maybe he'll give you the cold shoulder. Maybe he'll lose interest quickly. Maybe he'll play the field. You'll be extremely sad then. No way. If someone treated me like that, I'd just break up with them. Why would people be sad because of a piece of trash? Andrew stroked the side of my face and tucked the loose hair behind my ear. "Love at first sight won't last long. He definitely won't treat you well. What should I do? Should I help you get rid of him?" "Get rid of who?" I'm starting to feel like Andrew is drunk. He's talking nonsense and it's getting harder and harder to understand him. I rubbed my throbbing temples and turned my face away from Andrew's hand. "Stop saying such strange things. I'm sleepy. Let's talk about anything tomorrow." Andrew withdrew his hand from the side of my face. "So you really don't want to talk to me anymore, right?" "May I ask who here ever said they wouldn't talk to him?" "I'll count to 3. Go out and turn left to go to sleep. Or just get out." Before he even started counting, Andrew turned around and left. The door slammed shut with a deafening noise. I've said before that even the slightest noise will make me sleep restlessly. Even the slight sound of a door closing downstairs can reach my ears. I didn't want to care at first, but it started to rain heavily outside. I put on my clothes and went downstairs to open the door. Sure enough, Andrew was sitting on the steps at the door, with several bottles standing or lying beside him. Most of his body was already soaked by the rain. "Have you been drinking?" I questioned calmly. "No, they're just here for show. I haven't taken a single sip." "Come in." Without any hesitation, Andrew obediently stood up and followed me back to the living room. I took off the coat I was wearing and threw it at him. "Put it on." He was suddenly hit in the face by the coat, and his first reaction was to hold it up and sniff it. I rolled my eyes and went to the first-floor bathroom to get a towel for him to dry himself. Sitting on the single-seat sofa, I crossed my legs, looking impatient. "Now you can tell me. What on earth are you throwing a tantrum about today?" Andrew hung his head, slowly drying his hair and saying nothing. I was getting angry and kicked his calf with my toe. "I'm asking you a question." "Wait." Were the droplets on Andrew's eyelashes water or tears? I cleared my throat, feeling a bit awkward. "Forget it. Come here. I'll dry your hair for you." He handed me the towel and sat on the carpet at my feet. I uncrossed my legs and resignedly dried his hair. When his hair was almost dry, I asked again, "Now can you tell me what's going on today?" Andrew still didn't answer. Instead, he hugged my bare calf outside the pajamas. He was still a bit wet, and the skin on my calf was rubbed damp and sticky. Henry, please stop torturing me. Just give me a definite answer today. Do you like me or not? What? How did the topic suddenly turn to this? But the sudden change of topic didn't really affect the answer. I don't like you. I don't believe it. Andrew held my ankle and pressed his face against my calf. Tickled a bit. We've been together for more than 20 years. Why don't you like me? Who else could you like if not me? That Daniel has only met you a few times. You must have been deceived by his appearance. Yes, it's him who deceived you. Don't be deceived by him. He might be pretending. I know I'm not as scheming or cunning as him, but I've been your backup for so long. Can't you just take a look at me? Please like me. I really don't want to be just your mistress. As long as you can like me, I'll do anything for you. My head is buzzing from the noise. You'll do anything, right? Then shut up first and let me have some peace. Andrew stopped talking but didn't close his mouth. He took a bite of the flesh on my calf and wouldn't let go. Although it didn't hurt, I still got a shock. What are you doing? I grabbed his hair and pulled it back, forcing him to let go. The bitten place was red. I raised my fist. Andrew, are you asking for a beating? Unexpectedly, Andrew stiffened his neck, tilted his head up and shouted, Beat me to death. Anyway, it's worth it for me to have kissed you in this lifetime. My fist tightened, but I put it down. You look so stupid. Get up and sit properly. I didn't expect the opportunity to have an open and honest talk with Andrew to come so soon. I crossed my legs and rubbed the red mark awkwardly against the sofa leather. So clingy, so annoying. You said you like me. What do you mean? It means exactly what it says. When did it start? Since childhood. Nonsense. Really? I've thought you were extremely beautiful since childhood, just with a sharp tongue and you hit hard. But I've always believed that hitting is a sign of affection and scolding is a sign of love. During puberty, you were the only one I dreamed about. Since you allowed me to stay at your place, I've run to your room every night. Sometimes when you slept restlessly, I'd hug you. When you slept well, I'd make a bed on the floor beside you. I went out to hang out with them because I could tell you were annoyed with me these days. And when I went out, I'd only show you off. You can question me about anything, but you can't question my love for you. He got impatient, and so did I after hearing that. Andrew, aren't you disgusting? I really wanted to punch someone, but just when the atmosphere was getting tense, there came the sound of unlocking the door at the entrance. A woman carrying a suitcase walked in and stared blankly at us in the living room. Honey, why aren't you guys asleep yet? Andrew dashed forward before me to take the suitcase from my mom. Hazel, why did you come back so late? I just wanted to give you guys a surprise. I hugged my mom and nuzzled affectionately against her cheek. Mom stroked my forehead and patted my back over and over again. Henry, have you lost weight again? I don't think so. Andrew interrupted at this time. Don't worry, Hazel. He hasn't lost weight. He's even gained 2 pounds. I've been keeping an eye on him. My mom smiled and stroked Andrew's head as well to show her affection and gratitude. So, why are you two still awake so late? The stand-off between the two of us turned into a three-way interrogation. Andrew started chattering away and accused me first like a guilty party. Sometimes he said I drove him away, and sometimes he said I ignored him, my childhood friend, for the sake of outsiders. Finally, he said, Hazel, I love Henry. I want to be with him. I've given myself completely to him. Please make a decision for me. What kind of complete surrender? What kind of decision-making? I was so annoyed that I cracked my knuckles and stared at Andrew frowningly. Andrew probably felt guilty and didn't dare to look at me at all. And Mom looked at me and then at Andrew. In the end, she still couldn't bear to scold me. Instead, she said to Andrew's son, Auntie knows you love Henry and that you're good to him. But matters of the heart depend on the two of you. Anyway, if you two get together, Auntie will definitely support you. If it doesn't work out, then Auntie can only say sorry to you on Henry's behalf. Andrew looked dejected with his head down and eyes cast down. I just couldn't stand it anymore and stood up. Mom, go and rest now. Andrew, come up with me. After the door was closed, Andrew hung his head and carefully held the tip of my finger. I was out of my mind. Don't be angry. I shook off his hand. Why should I be angry? I resorted to asking Hazel like this because I really had no other way. I didn't mean to force you. You didn't mean to? Really? False. In fact, I'll try any means that can make you be with me. Well done. You're really something. I poked Andrew's chest with each word I said. He grabbed my finger and stared straight at me. You can hate me, but just don't ignore me. Why would I ignore you? Strange. I pulled back my finger, but he immediately took advantage and hugged me anxiously saying, you won't ignore me, right? And you're not angry either. Look, this guy gets extremely excited as soon as I soften my attitude a little. Let me go first. No. First, tell me that you'll never ignore me, that you'll never abandon me, and that the one you like is me. He acts like a spoiled child when given a little sweetness. 3. As soon as the word 3 came out of my mouth, Andrew reluctantly let me go. I slowly walked to the bedside and sat down while Andrew still stood there, staring at me with expectant and eager eyes. I raised my hand and pointed at my lips. Andrew immediately pounced on me and kissed my lips like a hungry dog. He kissed every part of my mouth, almost making my lips swollen. After that, he raised his head and stared at me waggingly. Do you agree? You love me too? Henry, you like me too, right? I pretended to think and didn't answer him immediately. He got anxious again and kissed my lips once more. While kissing, he mumbled incoherently, you like me. I know. I still didn't say a word, just stroked the back of his head twice. The kiss stopped and Andrew buried his head in my neck. His salty tears wet my exposed skin. I pressed my hand on the back of his neck and held him tightly. This is how I've tied you down, my puppy. When I was 10 years old, Dad entertained business partners at home. One of the drunk men somehow made his way to my bedroom. He praised me for being beautiful and said I took after my mother. Even if I were a boy, I would be amazingly good-looking. Then he touched my face and wanted to continue touching further down. I realized this was not normal. So I grabbed things from the desk and threw them at him and tried to scream. But he covered my mouth with his hand and pulled down half of my pants. I tried to pry his hand off, but I couldn't. So I banged my head against the table. But anyway, how could a 10-year-old child resist an adult? My pants were completely pulled off, and my head was smashed and bloody. I was about to give up. I thought that I must kill him in the future. But then, Andrew came. He stood at the door, looking at us in a daze. I knew he was stupid and not sensitive to such things, so I could only look at him with tears in my eyes. I hoped he would understand, yet also hoped he wouldn't. There was a loud bang, and the man stopped his actions. The water dripped down and washed away the blood on my face. The man's head slowly drooped, and Andrew tightly held the broken vase in his hand. He covered me with his coat and crazily smashed the things in my room on the man's head. The man felt the pain and pushed Andrew away, but Andrew still kept rushing up and trying to hit him. The noise upstairs finally attracted Dad, but he hesitated at the door for a while and actually chose to help that man. Mr. John, are you okay? Henry, Andrew, you're being too naughty. Come and apologize to Mr. John right away. Andrew retorted angrily and was about to explain. I tugged at Andrew's sleeve and looked at the two men supporting each other in the middle of the room. I've never felt so strange before. William, the guests are still waiting downstairs. You. Mom's figure also appeared at the door. She looked at the mess in the room in disbelief and couldn't help asking loudly, what's going on? Dad quickly made a gesture for her to be quiet. Keep your voice down. Don't let others laugh at us. The two kids are being ignorant and offended Mr. John. I'm trying to fix it. Mom also noticed something wrong with my clothes at this time and rushed to my side in 3 steps. Henry, my Henry. Mom knelt down on one knee and looked at me with an inquiring and worried look. All the grievances and fears in my heart gushed out at once, and I cried and threw myself into Mom's arms. Mom didn't say a word, just hugged me and patted me. Dad was anxious and urged Mom to find the first aid kit to bandage that Mr. John. Mom took my hand away, stood up, and pushed me towards Andrew. Good boy. Help me take care of Henry. Then, she picked up the heavy chair beside her and threw it at the two men standing in the middle of the room. I never knew my mother was so strong before. Dad scolded Mom for being crazy, but Mom wasn't afraid at all. I'm telling you, none of those who hurt my son will end well. Mom called a group of bodyguards and pinned the two men down firmly. She stamped on their heads in disappointment and vented her anger with her high heels, saying, I've struggled for half my life to give my child a good life. How dare you scumbags bully my child in my house? After saying that, Mom looked back at me. Son, come here. Whoever bullied you, just punch him hard. I staggered forward, but still didn't dare to take steps. Andrew suddenly stuffed an iron walnut into my hand. It was the one from his grandfather Tokiwa. I guessed he had taken it out to play with again. Go, smash him with this. Mom and Andrew looked at me firmly. That day, the iron walnut was stained with blood and could no longer be used. That day, Henry, who was only 10 years old, was buried in the past. After Mom handled everything, she wanted to take me away. However, in the new place, I found that I would become anxious and restless as long as someone touched me or there were strangers around me. The situation even became so serious that it led to somatic symptoms of anxiety. I could only calm down when I was beside Mom. Mom had no choice but to take me back to the original place and buy another house. Andrew was overjoyed. He came to find me on the first day we got back. I also found that I didn't resist his closeness either. I'm no longer the introverted, quiet, and shy Henry. I'm the sensitive, suspicious, and paranoid Henry. During the time when I reunited with Andrew, I always tried to make him realize this. However, his performance not only showed that he didn't realize it, but also he became more and more obedient to me. I knew I was abnormal, but it wasn't easy to push Andrew away. He walked in front of me regardless and willingly lowered his head. All I could do was take out the collar that I had prepared long ago but dared not take out and put it around his neck. Andrew, my savior, my little stupid dog, you'd better love me for a lifetime. Because I will never let go and never look back.